Hi guys, welcome to my coffee show. My name is Jack. As you can see, I'm overexcited because today we have a big one. Today we are playing with Timemore 078S. First of all, big thank you to Timemore for sending us this awesome grinder. I will put the links in the description. There are some special links for you guys there. If you use them, you can get the products a bit cheaper and I may earn some small commission, so it's a great way to support the channel. What I'm planning to do today, first we need to unbox this big boy. Then I will quickly talk about this grinder. Eventually we will play with it as well. So very exciting video if you're as excited as myself. All you need to do is just click like, sit tight and enjoy. If I could take you back to last year, Kickstarter, Timemore presented 2 or actually 4 electric grinders, and those grinders, they broke all Kickstarter records. I pre-ordered that 064S then, but today we are opening 078S. Inside the box, I hope there is a grinder. Now, you might be surprised with the color. So I went for the white one, and the reason is there was a much longer waiting list for the black one. Obviously, we get a manual, we get a blower. Timemore, as you know, they love blowing. They add those blowers to every grinder. This one is covered with some film. That's magnetically attached top of the hopper. We've got a power cable, so here in UK, that's how the power cable looks like. We got some screws. At this point, I don't know what those screws are for, but I'm sure they are important. Another thing that Timemore loves, the brushes. So we got a brush here. There should be a catching cap here. There will be a magnet here, so that secures that catching cap. I like the finish, so there is a texture. When you touch to it, there is a texture to it. It's not smooth. I think it's time to reveal the grinder itself. The grinder, I think it looks great. Someone at some point mentioned that those grinders, they look like a sewing machines, but after a year, I think we all got used to this shape. The grinder weighs 6.5 kg, so not that much. It is long, but it is narrow. So even in my tiny kitchen, it should be relatively easy to find a space for it. On the top of the grinder, as I mentioned, you have that hopper. At the front of the grinder, that's where you change the grind settings. On the side, you have a grind indicator. It is red, so it is very visible. Underneath is obviously where the grinds will be coming from. On the side of the grinder, there is an on-off switch, and on the posterior, you have a knob to change RPM. So yes, this grinder, you can regulate RPMs between 800 and 1400 RPMs. But as always, not what outside but what's inside that is important. Inside you have those 78mm flat burrs. Timemore patented those burrs, so those burrs supposed to be very good. They talk on the website about particle distributions and so on, which is important, but the most important is what we get in a cup. We will come back to that. For those burrs to run, for that RPM to do its job, we need a proper engine. We need a good quality engine, and here we have a sensory brushless motor, because a good thing it's a sensory, not senseless, and they say that you cannot find any grinder at this price point with such a good quality motor. But that's not the only thing that Timemore sent to me. No, they also sent to me a time machine. So what I'm planning to do, I will use this time machine right now. I will take you with me maybe 5-7 days into the future. Through that 5-7 days, I will be playing with this grinder. I want to get to know it. I want to discover any potential quirks, issues with these grinders. By the end of this video, you should be able to make your own decision. Is this a grinder right for you? So let's try this time machine. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think it worked. I'm taking you 8 days into the future. Yes, I could share with you, I don't know, lottery numbers or something, but I know that what's most precious for you is my findings about this grinder. I will tell you all the good things and all the bad things, because there are some bad things here as well. Let's start with the color. Look at it right now. You may notice the mess. So if you go for a white grinder, you have to clean it up every single day. In fact, every single time you use it, you probably would need to clean it if you want to have it spotless. Now, daily usage, noise without any bins in, very quiet, even on the highest RPM. When you grind the coffee, that's on the highest RPM. The noise Well, noticeable, not the worst noise I've ever heard. There is popcorning. With most of the grinders there is some popcorning. So if you don't keep that lid on when you grind, few beans will always find the way out. Talking about the hopper on top, the capacity could be slightly bigger. For espresso it's okay, 20 grams of coffee, easy. But if I was doing a bigger batch of pour over, I probably would have to do it in 2 doses. Talking about that crystal hopper, it looks great. Apart from 2 spots. I don't know if every grinder is like that or it's just mine, but those 2 spots, they don't look perfect. We talked about the noise, but what about time of grinding? For espresso, 20 grams of coffee on highest RPM, that will take about 12 seconds. On the lowest RPM, that would take about 20 seconds. Retention, I tested it. Sometimes I got 0, sometimes I got 0.5. On average, I would say 0.2. Grind indicator, nicely visible. The numbers on the plate could be slightly bigger, but then probably they would spoil the overall look of the grinder, so I think I can accept it as they are. What I really don't like on this grinder is that knob to regulate RPMs on the posterior of the grinder. I mean, who invented that? Whoever did that, whoever is responsible for that. Nescafe original for him. It's probably the worst place you could position that knob. Yes, if that's your one and only grinder, you can keep it sideways and that gives you a better access, but still, why they couldn't put it on the side? For some of you, this is probably first grinder with regulated RPMs, and to change it, if you have a setup like myself, each time I want to do it, you have to take the grinder away, look behind, the knob is small, the numbers are small, change it and then put it back. By the way, when you lift that grinder, remember it's top heavy. Be careful, otherwise you may drop it. I almost did. Another thing that I don't like here, and I think I said the same about 064S, is the access to the burst. I mean, for most of you, that's not an issue. Most of you won't be opening this grinder, but if you plan to do so, there are a few more screws, few more steps to do than with regular grinders. Now, let's talk about taste, let's talk about flavor notes. I seasoned the grinder a little bit with 1 kg of coffee, and another half kg of coffee went through it during my tests. So I wouldn't say it's fully seasoned, but probably like a halfway there. Let's do a pour over. So 15 grams of coffee. I still have a little bit of that Onyx Sudden Weather that they sent to me. Narrow Ria V4, and for that brewer, I'm on the setting number 12, sometimes number 13, depending on the coffee. Also, I lower the RPMs to the lowest position. By the way, I've been using this Timemore pour over scale, and I think I like it. The numbers are clearly visible. Very nice contrast between black color of the scale and those light numbers. The scale is big enough to accommodate even bigger carafes. And it's also very simple. Timer on one side, weight on the other side. You can also see a flow, but not much in terms of that smart nonsense that lots of coffee scales come with. Coffee bed, still on the muddy side. I wouldn't say this is the worst coffee bed I've ever seen. This grinder can grind for everything, but it is a grinder designed for espresso. Timer also have dedicated grinder for pour overs, 078. Timer has been so generous to me so far that I wouldn't even dare to ask them for the next grinder. But if you tried 078 for pour overs, let us know in the comments what you think about this grinder. Would you agree that this is one of the best pour over grinders in this price range? The temperature should be just about right. Cheers. It's okay. Not the clearest cup, but there is some crispiness in the background. There is some sourness. This coffee, as I said in the previous videos, this is a safe bet. So you cannot mess it up. I got clearer flavor notes when I use SSP multi-purpose burrs on my other grinder, but it's still very pleasant to drink. So yes, you can use it for pour overs as well. Now let's do espresso. Espresso I've been testing a lot because this is espresso grinder. I tried different coffees, different roast levels. At first there was lots of sour notes, but with seasoning those notes went down slightly. What we're getting here now is a more balanced cup. Well, let's pull a shot and I will take you through the flavor notes. We're going to use this light roast coffee, Hambella Alaka from Onyx, and we have a nice looking shot. The extraction, well, you will be able to tell me. I'm here on the highest RPM. I haven't done that many tests with different RPMs, but what I normally do and what I would recommend to you, pull a few shots on the highest RPM, see how you like it, then lower it to the lowest RPM and check the differences. And from there you can take your coffee, your shots into the direction that you want to. On the lowest RPM, the shot tastes watery. Yes, you get a little bit more clarity because that body is taken away, but I think, well, depending obviously on the coffee, but usually the shot on the highest RPM was more satisfying than the shot on the lowest RPM. Probably for espresso I would be aiming for 1000, 1200-ish euros. Even on that highest RPM, I get a clear flavors here. Sourness is still present. You get some sort of balance here. A lemon tea, some sweetness, medium body notes, sharp, but not to the point that it would be painful, so you can enjoy this shot. This grinder is better for light and medium roast coffee. For the dark roast coffee, and I don't really drink like a city roast, my dark roast coffee, it's probably like a medium dark for you. I had it, I tried it, it was nice. It was tasty, but I was missing that body, that silkiness, that thickness of the shot. So guys, if you are still here, definitely click like, consider subscribing to the channel, plenty more things coming. We will be still testing this grinder. I will compare it possibly with DF83V. That's a kind of a clear competition here. We will see which one is better. So click the notification button, you won't miss a thing. If you already have this grinder, share your experience with us. What I think a very, very solid grinder in this price range, one of the better grinders, one of the grinders to consider, to think about. If you plan to buy this one or any other Timemore things, check my links, you may get the products a bit cheaper. Next time maybe we will test my new espresso machine or maybe something else, but for today, thank you very much for watching. My name is Jack, this is my coffee show, and hopefully I will see you soon. Thank you, bye!